Can you believe that some people still think that the New Jerusalem is actually the shape of a cube? I know, right? But if you are one of these people, I'm glad you found the video, because I will give compelling evidence as to why it is actually the shape of a pyramid, right after these messages.
I may never march in the infantry, but my feet are firm with the gospel of peace and the sword of the Spirit at my right hand.
I may never ride in the cavalry, but the belt of truth and the breastplate of righteousness are my defense and security.
I may never shoot the artillery, but I will take up the shield of faith and extinguish the deceiving darts of the devil.
And I may never fly over the enemy, but my mind is protected by the helmet of salvation.
We are the Lord's army.
Hello, and thanks for watching the Godly Rebels channel. I am JD. And in this video, I will give my 3 main reasons why I believe the New Jerusalem is actually the shape of a pyramid instead of a cube. I will also give reasons why I think it is much smaller than what many people are saying, because 1,500 miles out into space is just way too huge. So we need to rethink that. So for my first main reason is actually an entire video I did previous to this one called Mount Zion and New Jerusalem verse comparisons. And in that video I give many verses that compare Mount Zion in the Old Testament with the New Jerusalem in the New Testament, and how they are very similar, almost word for word comparisons. So I believe they're the same. And if you think about it, Mount Zion is a mountain, and that's the shape of a pyramid. So if Mount Zion is a pyramid, then the New Jerusalem, therefore, ergo, is also going to be a mountain or a pyramid. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it, because there's like 30 reasons why, all jam-packed into one reason why. Moving on to my second main reason, and that is walls. In Revelation chapter 21, verse 17, we get a description of a wall and how high it is. He, the angel, also measured its wall, 144 cubits by human measurement, which is also an angel's measurement. So in English, 144 cubits is actually over 200 feet, which also translates to 70 meters. So the wall will be over 200 feet tall, or maybe 20 stories, which is pretty big, right? Now my issue with this is, why would you need a wall if the entire side of the cube is a wall, right? Let me see if I have a dry erase board so I can make this easy for you. Okay, so here's the cube. So in the Bible, it also says that each side is the same as its length, as its width, as it is tall. And it gives a measurement 1,500 miles. But we'll go over that at the end of the video, like I said, because that is a huge number. So here's 1,500 miles tall. And right down here, right here at the bottom. Can you see that? That's how big the wall is right there. 200 feet. Can you see that? 200 feet right there. That's the wall. Why do you need a wall that's 200 feet if you've got a wall that's 1,500 miles? Or like I'll explain later in the video, between 200 and 300 miles. Which makes a lot more sense, but still, even if it's 200 and 300 miles tall, what difference is a 200-foot wall gonna do? Now let's think, let me just draw this out for you, so you can start to get the picture. If it was a pyramid or a mountain, it makes a lot more sense.
Like this, 200.
Alright, there's the pyramid, and now here's the wall. It's still a dinky wall, but it makes sense having that wall. You need a wall to protect right here, because it starts out smaller and it gets bigger in the middle. So take it or leave it. It may not be a very strong argument, but why would you need a wall if the entire side is a wall? Next. Now for my third main argument, I call it the Copycat Conspiracy. And I only believe the conspiracies that are true. So you don't have to worry, take my word for it. This is true. All around the world, from the Far East to the Far West, we have pyramids. They vary slightly in their design, but they are all the same pyramids. Cambodia, Byzantine, Mayans, Aztecs, they all have pyramids. And what else do they have in common? What are these pyramids used for? These pyramids were used to present sacrifices to their gods. And who is at the center of all of these erroneous gods? Satan. Satan wants to set himself up as God. He believes he is better than God. So what is he doing here on earth? He is telling all these different nations that he is God and that they should worship him. So at the top of all these pyramids, that's essentially where he's sitting. They're presenting these sacrifices to him in honor of him, which is just completely false, and I hate saying it. Ugh. And where do you think Satan gets this idea? From God. There are lots of scriptures where God is seated on a throne on a mountain, and a lot of those are the Mount Zion scriptures that I gave in the previous video. Satan knows what he's doing, he knows what he wants, and he just copies, he imitates it, he distorts the truth, makes it his own, and we have pyramids here on earth. To take this a little bit farther, you take all these pyramids around the world and go back to one single event. Can you guess what it is? The Tower of Babel. All of the nations at that point in history were still all clumped together in the Middle East, and they wanted to build a city up to the heavens. They wanted to be gods themselves. Where did they get that idea? From Satan. And what did this city look like? A pyramid, or a cone, maybe. But after God intervened at that point in time, all the nations spread out across the world, and they took with them that idea of the pyramid. So whether you believe it goes back to the Tower of Babel and then that's where Satan gave him that idea, or if Satan just throughout the world and throughout time presented this idea to different people, it's the same. Satan is a copycat of the one true God. So if the copycat is a pyramid, then what do you think the original is? None. Well, I hope all that makes sense and you can follow along pretty well. Well, let me give you one more verse, Revelation 21, verse 16, which is the verse right before that wall verse that I gave you earlier. The city lies 4 square. Its length is the same as its width. And he measured the city with his rod, 12,000 stadia, or furlongs. Its length and width and height are equal. That last part where it says its length, its width, and its height are equal is the only verse that supports a cube, because a cube has the same length, has the same width, and has the same height. So people just get stuck in that mindset that it's a cube, because that's the only explanation, but it's not the only explanation. I spoke too soon. There is in fact one more explanation, and that is it's a pyramid. The pyramid has the same base as a cube. It's 4 square. And then its height can be the exact same as well. It doesn't need to go out to the sides. It can go up to the middle, and in the middle that height is going to be the same as its sides. Easy. Those are really the only 2 shapes that it can be. But like I said before, there's so much more evidence that it is a pyramid than a cube. One verse for a cube, but maybe hundreds for a pyramid. It just makes so much more sense that it is a pyramid than a cube. So, it's up to you. You can take your pick. There are 2 shapes, cube or pyramid. Which do you think it is? So as I was editing this video, I came to realize that it was getting a little lengthy. So I'm going to cut it right here and save why I think the New Jerusalem is smaller for the next video, part 2. But in the meantime, stay in the Word, put on the full armor of God every day, and God bless.